Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be exploring the City of London. Now, to start off, the City of London, you may be thinking about the geographical city of London in England, but what we're talking about today is actually a state within a state, much like England's own Vatican City. It is an independent nation state, a power unto itself within the confines of the City of London. In this video, we'll be referring to it as the City of London Corporation, or the Corporation to differentiate it. Now, talking about its origins, many people have heard of the City of London Corporation, but they don't quite know how it works. It was originally founded as Londinium around 43 BC by the Romans. The city began as a trading hub on the River Thames. Leveraging its strategic location, it grew rapidly, with a forum, basilica, and walls by around the 2nd century, becoming the capital, in fact, of Roman Britain. Now, about this period, we all know of Rome invading Britain and stopping at Hadrian's Wall, building the wall to Scotland, kind of chilling there for a bit, then retreating. And then we kind of get to the mists of time, the various tribes in England before the Anglo-Saxons show up, right? So, this early Roman fort was the capital, and a sort of Roman Arthurian culture grew up around it, and it became a city-state, more or less. And over this period, you'll see a bit of a theme here, is that the City of London Corporation is able to attain several stacking layers of independence from various rulers, who knew it would be too much of a hassle to take because of the Roman walls, but still wanted its cooperation in these early periods. So let's start with Alfred the Great. The first Anglo-Saxon to really become king. Alfred the Great is considered the first king of England. He was possibly the first literate king of England. It was re-established as Ludenvik by the Anglo-Saxons in around the 7th century. It became a key trading center under Alfred, of course, who fortified it further against Viking raids. By the Norman conquest in 1066, London was England's pure economic hub. The city gained unique privileges under William the Conqueror, including more self-governance. It was formalized in a charter in 1067. Medieval institutions like the Corporation of London, the city's governing body, and the guilds started to emerge around this period, managing trade and local laws. The city's autonomy grew, which was very distinct from the royal control around other provinces. Now, the Magna Carta was another impressive one here. So you have the first layer of independence being granted by Alfred. When he came with the Anglo-Saxons, they were unable to take the City of London. It was a Roman fort. It was manned. It was garrisoned. So he said basically, all right, well, you'll be a part of England, but you can run yourselves, trade with whoever you want, and in return, you'll help out me when I have a bit of a money problem. Then we get to the second layer of that, the rebellion of the barons, which is in 1015, of course. You know, the barons, the nobles are rebelling against King John, and then King John is forced to sign the Magna Carta, giving them more rights and traditional privileges. And the City of London played a huge part in this, actually, because they funded the barons and allowed them to buy manpower and horses and funds and levy all those resources needed to really force the crown. And as part of this agreement, the City of London Corporation gained even more privileges and rights and less interference from the crown. Then we come to the next layer of this, William the Conqueror. William Conqueror, of course, was named the successor of Edward the Confessor after he died, and he was from Normandy, which is northern France. He came across the sea and conquered England, and this is generally when a lot of people say that English history starts properly out of those other ages. During this period, the city became a global trade center with the rise of the British Empire, hosting the Royal Exchange, a sort of early stock market, if you will, and various banks. The Great Fire of London destroyed much of the city, but led to rebuilding with landmarks like St. Paul's Cathedral, which they hoped to fund. Its governments remained independent, with the Lord Mayor and the Court of Aldermen, which we'll get into a bit later, the actual running of it, managing local affairs and resisting all royal overreach. Now, the city really transformed into a financial hub with the growth of banking, and insurance markets. It survived the Industrial Revolution shift from manufacturing elsewhere, really focusing down on finance. Despite the World War II bombings and the Blitz, the city rebuilt quite handsomely, cementing its role as a global financial center, rivaled only by New York. That's William again. William. What? What the hell? Did I hit my head? Ugh. Anyway, the modern city of London, which is a pretty famous, you see this egg-shaped building here and a couple of these other ones, that's actually the City of London itself corporation, encompassing about a square mile contiguous territory. And a lot of these sort of famous downtown metro buildings are in fact City of London Corporation buildings. Today, the City of London is the biggest stock exchange in the world, next to the New York Stock Exchange. The issue is the NYSE is all public, where the majority of these banks and corporations in the City of London are private, so no one really knows how much wealth and how many resources are flowing through there daily. It's hard to really quantify in that regard. Like I said, it's only 1.12 square miles, but it contributes handsomely to the UK's GDP. Now, like I said, the City of London Corporation is governed by the entity known as the City of London Corporation, which is a really unique institution. Now, one of those unique institutions is the Mayor of the City of London. Now, the Mayor is not the actual ruler of the City of London. He's more like a representative or an honorary guy. This gentleman here, Nicholas, he's not the actual mayor right now, but he had the most drip by far, so that's why I included him in the picture. The city hosts over 500 banks, including the Bank of England and Lloyd's of London, a very famous big English bank. Its economic power really stems from historical trade networks and a lot of deregulation. It's 1% of London's area, but it employs over 500,000 people. None of them live there. They all commute from outside. But if you're a member of the board, you can become a resident of the City of London, much like a handful of people, a couple hundred, or maybe 1,000 are citizens of Vatican City, mostly the clergy and the Swiss Guard and stuff like that. So it's kind of similar in that regard. Now, the City of London, getting into the workings of it, has its own private police force. They employ their own police, their own condottieri, if you will. They pay no taxes to the crown. They have their own unique laws with no overlap from English rule. It doesn't answer to Parliament. It even has its own pseudo ambassador to Parliament known as the Remembrancer. For my 40K fans out there, that's pretty funny. So this Remembrancer acts as an emissary of a foreign state in practice, and he lobbies Parliament on the interests of the city. The City of London Corporation is made up of about 500 corporations. In truth, about 20 really powerful finance firms are influential. These make up its ruling board of directors. Like I said, the Mayor of London is mostly a figurehead and an honorary role for those members of the board who wish to take a step back from the real politic but still wish to represent the city. The City of London has a unique structure as a pure oligarchy, perhaps the only one in the modern world, where instead of individual citizens voting for their representatives or on laws, the corporations themselves elect the members of the board of directors from among their C-suite officers, which is very interesting. These members of the board then cast their votes in a small body to determine the board members who will rule absolutely. This membership on the board, of course, is a result of achieving the most power and influence in one of the member corporations. Here we have the crest or sigil of the City of London. It looks very cool. Of course, you see the flag of St. George, some dragons, Domini Dirige Nos. To sum it up, the City of London, from its Roman foundings as Londinium to its modern role as a financial powerhouse, is defined by its unique governments and enduring autonomy. The City of London Corporation, with its Lord Mayor and livery companies, preserved medieval traditions while managing a global financial hub. Its history of self-governance and economic resilience make it a compelling study in government forms, blending ancient privileges with modern influence. So that's pretty much it for the video. Like I said, it's kind of like England's Vatican City in a way, very interesting. And they pull a lot of the strings in world finance and world power. And like I said, no one really knows how much money they have or where it comes from. You know, when you see those top 50 richest men in the world videos, that's pretty inaccurate because that's all just the public wealth. And when you see, you know, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk at the top, that's a representation of what their stock is worth if they ever cash it all out. Then there are people like the King of Spain, for instance, who has a ton of wealth that's private. You have Swiss bankers or Swiss institutions that have a ton of wealth that's private. You know, the Pope's art collection and real estate collection can't be accurately valued, but it would certainly dwarf the resources of Jeff Bezos. The same for the City of London Corporation. If you found this video interesting at all, subscribe, like. If you want to help me to recover from my traumatic brain injury that turned me British for a little bit, leave a comment and say, "Get well soon, noticer." That's pretty much it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.